There is documented erratic and odd behavior. The Times discussing these issues, concern among Trump vets. They discuss the social media posts, increasingly long tangents, lies, and fact-free claims that seem to show Trump as more confused than just the old lying. Allies rattled. Now, we know another aging president saw Americans reassess his capacity in real time. Then President Biden faced concerns at that now infamous debate. But Americans are seeing examples with Trump in a different way, more slowly over the past few months, of diversions, inhibition, and frequent episodes of confusion.
For $25 million, and it would be better. It would be better. See this pen right here? Our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. So this pen is very inexpensive, but it writes well. I like it. I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold. I love the government like I love myself economically. And I got all you people looking, and you say there must be something wrong with Trump.
You think Tom Tillis is going to give you a vote?
Well, we're going to have to find out. He might not, but that's why Tom Tillis is no longer a senator.
Okay. On the AI
Tom Tillis is no longer a senator, right?
He's on his way out.
Well, no, he quit, but he quit.
Tom Tillis is a senator. He has not quit or resigned. Now, Trump has had to walk back some of his recent posts. That's been in the news for days, including, of course, the Jesus posts, but also pretty recently, those extremely abhorrent and racist attack on the Obamas, which he posted and then took down. There are other long rants that he stood by, which, if you think about it, would have anyone questioning how their grandpa was doing if they said stuff like this at the dinner table. I'm just showing one, but there are several, including some Allah-praising, cursing, and genocidal rants towards Iran. Praise be to Allah, says the president, for no apparent reason. The Times also describing another element of the newer sign of decline, which is Trump has long joked about how he weaves from topic to topic, but some tangents suggest something else, a kind of loss of control or a sense of public confusion. In December, he went veering off topic at an event that was celebrating the holidays, and he went from the normal things you'd expect a politician to say in that venue to a ramble about poisonous snakes in Peru. Now, here's the thing. It lasted 8 minutes. 8 minutes on the snakes. And here's why that might matter in how we learn things nowadays. Very few Americans saw it because it wasn't carried live across TV or carried in full later on that night, let alone at a presidential debate like what I mentioned with Biden. Imagine if people had seen it. This is the kind of thing that can make independent observers and even supporters ask, well, even if I like this leader, are they still okay? Are they up to the job? Tonight, we're not going to air all 8 minutes, but we did prepare a special version to give you a more thorough picture of how the president sounded over this, I guess, inexplicable 8-minute presentation.
They wanted to go hiking in Peru. Was it Peru? In Peru. And it's known for being a rather rough place in terms of physical creatures crawling around. 28,000 people die a year from a snake bite, a certain snake. It's a viper, right? It's said to be the most poisonous snake in the world. It's so powerful, this snake. It's said to be the most poisonous. That, the black mamba, the brown mamba, and the viper from Peru. You do not want to play games, okay? And this vicious snake, and it is vicious. Teeth are like this, those fangs. These are not fangs you want, sucking on your arm, right? And the power is incredible of animals. Power is incredible. You got hit, and we take a lot of respect. The chances of living from that snake are substantially less than 1%, and that's only if you have the venom. Even if you have the venom, you don't live.
That was a full 8 minutes. What do you see there?
Well, I think I'm quoted early in that New York Times article as saying that the man is insane. I don't think there's any doubt about it. If you'll keep in mind, a year and a half ago, just before the election, George Conway published, or his PAC published an open letter in the New York Times where 230 psychiatrists and mental health professionals called out the malignant narcissism of this man since that time, and just in the recent past. So we've got snakes, drapes, pens. It's just crazy, but it's not unheard of. I mean, what we see in a man who insists that Rob Reiner, who was murdered by a mentally incapacitated relative, Trump tried to personalize that as being he was murdered because of the anger that he had caused by being opposed by Trump. When Bob Mueller dies, sadly, one of the great heroes in American history, FBI director and decorated Marine for courage. This is a man. Trump says, "Good, I'm glad he's dead." And when he attacks the Pope and tries to insist fraudulently to the American people that it's justified because the Pope believes that Iran should have a nuclear weapon, when the Pope is on record being against nuclear weapons, it just shows you how crazy this man is. And the symptoms are clear. I mean, and I'm not a psychiatrist, but every day there's a publication out there where respected psychiatrists and mental health professionals are quoted on the symptomatology. He doesn't finish sentences.
Is it different than when you were there as counsel in the first term?
Oh, yes, it's much different. Yeah, no, it's definitely accelerated. I mean, when I was there, his narcissism, would be on display because he would passionately want to do something that seemed out of bounds. But people like General Kelly and General Mattis, Nikki Haley, were there to talk him out of it. They don't have those guardrails there today. And in fact, there should be some concern that people are using his incapacity to manipulate decisions, as Netanyahu did in connection with the decision to go into Iran. But now his vocabulary has shrunk. He's resorted to profanity and threats. Totally impulsive, suggestive of the absence of any frontal lobe controls.
Yeah, there's a disinhibition. The funny question I have for you, having worked with him,
sure,
as I mentioned, which is important. People, we like to go to the source. When you would observe a version of this, as you say, worse now, does he show the awareness that he's gone 8 minutes about snakes at an unrelated topic event, or does he actually not know? Because you speed it up and watch, and you go 8 minutes of that, and his wife, and I'm not commenting on their relationship, but his wife's standing there kind of doesn't seem like she thinks this was on topic. The crowd is just sitting there captive. It's an emperor has no clothes moment. Does he know that topically he has no clothes?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't understand this at all, any more than Joe Biden, had difficulty getting off stage and finding the exit. But, the difference between Biden's, sort of, benevolent grandpa, losing his memory, and Trump's malignant narcissism is shockingly consequential.